Hey everybody, welcome back to A Better Computer. My name is Matt, and today's video is going to be a little casual one as I do a little head-to-head with the brand new Photomator 3.0, which is available on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone, and do some comparisons to Lightroom to see how it does at some tasks that I do pretty regularly. I think it's a really cool app. I've talked about it before on this channel, but the big new thing today is that it's available on the Mac, which it was only available on the iPhone and iPad previously, and they've also changed their pricing. So it used to be a one-time purchase. Now they've switched to a subscription. I know that comes with drama, but just reporting what is happening. But basically it's $5 a month or $30 per year. You can get the first year for $15, so half price, if you bought the app previously. And I did notice when I was looking through the App Store that there's a lifetime option and an exclusive lifetime option that I was not able to find in the interface. So maybe these are things they're going to make available at some point to certain people. I don't really know, but they're there. Maybe eventually they'll be a thing. But for this sort of app, $100 for a lifetime license sounds pretty decent to me if it works for your use cases. So let's take a look at the app. And so I'm not going to do a full tutorial on what it is, but basically it's a Lightroom alternative. So if you are familiar with how Lightroom works, what sorts of edits it lets you make, Photomator does a very similar thing, just it's a native Mac app built on Apple's platforms directly. It's faster in most cases. It's got some cool stuff. But I am a big Lightroom fan, and I have always been a Lightroom fan because it just really works well with my workflows. So let's take a look at a couple of the things I like about Photomator. Number one thing I really love about this is super resolution. So this is a wallpaper I made 8 years ago now, leading up to WWDC. And it's 750 by 1334, which was fine at the time, but nowadays, like you can really see, it's not as crisp as a wallpaper I would make today. No problem. I can just go up here, do super resolution, and in a second or two, look at that. I've got a nice, it cleans up the image quite a bit. It's not 100% perfect, but it's definitely cleaner than it was, and I can go ahead and just say done, save it, and now I have a higher resolution of this old wallpaper that I had previously made. I do this for old screenshots sometimes. I do it for Apple Watch screenshots. It's really great for screenshots. You can do it with the photos as well, but I find it's more valuable for screenshot style things. The next thing I want to show you is the healing brush, which is really excellent in Photomator, and I'll compare it to Lightroom's. So on this photo, I can just go to this. I can adjust the brush size down here, but I kind of like where it's at. And if I was taking this photo and wanted to share it on like a website or whatever, maybe I don't want the little stain there. Maybe I don't want the little dent there. And there you go. I've cleaned it up. Let's go ahead and hit done, modify it. Boom. I have a nicer image. Same thing works over in Lightroom. So I can do this, hit that. Let's actually shift that a little bit. We'll do this one as well. And we're done. And that looks good, right? It looks better. So they both do a really good job with the basic ones, but let's push it a little further. So here's a picture of my dog, and the dog is the best part of the photo. So I would never do this if it weren't for a video. Let's see if we can remove him entirely from this photo. This is the sort of demo that Google does, right? Where you can totally remove something. Yikes. Okay, so the nice thing about Lightroom is you can kind of adjust where it's pulling from. None of these look really good. So that's I mean, that looks pretty terrible. So let's see. I don't know if Photomator is going to do any better, but let's just try it out. So we're going to just outline him again. And again, I'm sorry, bud, you're a real good boy. But let's see what happens. And honestly, it looks like it accidentally grabbed some of the crack over there. So let's try to get rid of that now. That looks great. If you didn't know there was a dog here, you'd have no idea. I wonder if I could, let's see if we try to get rid of this little door frame that's in the shot. That worked pretty well. Can I get rid of this chair as well? Can I just make this like, pretend this is a boring shot of just my patio? I mean, you can kind of tell there if we do that. It's not 100% perfect, but if I sent you this photo and just like, look at the concrete and the grass, you'd be like, okay, why are you sending me this photo? If I go over here, will this do like even the easier bits? Sort of. That's okay. That's okay. There's definitely some artifacts. Yeah, I mean this, I don't know how realistic this is, but, and that looks like trash. So maybe we can tweak it a little, but now that, yeah, this looks terrible. I've broken it entirely. This one, this looks pretty great. But I am going to revert to the original because I'm not removing the picture of my dog. Although I would maybe be able to make this better by removing this and removing the chair. And hey, and actually, let me just do another one over there. That's perfect. Done. Save it. Cool. And now I have a new photo of my dog without the distractions. That's pretty rad. So yeah, really impressed with the healing brush in Photomator. Again, on the little stuff, I think Lightroom does awesome. It does great. But when you push it, it looks like Lightroom definitely breaks quicker. So let's move on to smart selection. So this is an unexciting selfie I took a while ago. But if I bring up the adjustments, and we haven't even looked at these yet, but these are the adjustments you can do to photos, and it's pretty much the stuff you're going to be used to. I could probably do an hour-long video walking through all of these, but basically you can show or hide the ones that you want. Down here you can hit the 3 dots to customize adjustments and choose which ones show and are hidden completely. So if you don't need most of these, and most people don't, you can hide the ones you don't need, but again, not a full tutorial. But let's say I wanted to adjust the sky. How would I do that? So the easiest way would be to go up here to the layers and hit plus, and let's do one of the smart selections. You can do smart select subject, sky, or background. Let's do the sky. So we've selected the sky, and let's go ahead and make the sky green. There we go. We've made it green. Cool. Terrible, but it does a pretty good job of selecting the sky. Now let's say I want to make myself, let's select the subject. This might take another second or two, but if we look at that, that's a pretty good mask. That's a really good mask on my hair, actually. In this case, let's make me black and white. So I'm black and white, the sky is green, this photo is ruined, but I mean, you can zoom in and yeah, I mean, there's a slight glow there where it's missed my, the hood on my hoodie here, but it's the same color as the street, so not a big deal, but this is pretty darn good. Let's see how Lightroom does with the exact same thing. So we can go to the select tool, and they actually have the same selection options, subject, sky, or background. So let's do the same thing. Let's select the background. So it's detecting, oh no, I don't mean the background. The sky, let's do the sky. So it's selecting the sky. There we go. Let's shift the hue to green. So again, just the sky has shifted to green, although why does that look weird all of a sudden when oh, it's because the red selector's on it. So okay. And let's also add another selection. How do I do that? Plus, let's select the subject. There we go. It's also done a pretty good job with masking my hair. In this case, we want to make myself black and white. And there we go. Let's go back into edit mode so the red overlay isn't there. Ooh, why did it change? Oh, I screwed it up. Well, anyway, so that's black and white. This should be color. Oh, why is the saturation screwed up there? Oh my God, it's not letting me select just that. Okay, well that's annoying. Clearly I don't quite know what I'm doing here, but I guess in terms of, and this is a hideous photo at this point, but the selections do seem to work. I just need to kind of figure out how to edit only specific parts of it, which apparently I'm not doing correctly. Anyway, let's move on to the next. Actually, let's move on to one that I know Lightroom does incredibly well. So here's a photo I took of a Lego set that I'm working on, and there's a ton of noise. I actually took it intentionally to get noise in the photo. And what you can traditionally do is if we go into the edit tools, there is noise reduction, and you can denoise it. But as you denoise it, it gets really soft, and you kind of get this this effect that it really looks fake. So how do I get rid of this intense noise? Well, they have a smart denoising tool. And so I can go ahead and it's going to preview how much it's going to change. Let's actually do a little bit more and then enhance. And so this is going to take a couple seconds to run, but once it's done, it actually delivers incredible results. I'm doing this live, so I have no idea how this one's going to turn out, but historically, based on my use for the past couple weeks, I would say this is going to look awesome. So it's almost done. Again, you can really just see the grain here. Hopefully YouTube doesn't compress it away. But here's the new one, and this looks absolutely incredible. This is pin sharp. It looks just as crisp as the original photo, but it's really denoised, and I still have all the detail here, and I can start doing my edits from this point. So I'm really impressed with this feature on Lightroom. Let's discard the changes to that horrible photo. And let's do it with the same photo here. So again, you can see the crazy noise. Let's go ahead and go under here, and there's denoise. So it's going to denoise it. Again, it's kind of doing it just in line, and if we zoom in to see the noise difference and clarity difference, there you go. So it's actually not as good. So I'm really zoomed in now, but you can actually see it kind of loses some of the clarity. This is actually definitely not as good. Oops. So if you look at like these lines that are, grainy, but they're crisp, when we go over here, it really adds some artifacting here that wasn't in the original. So you do lose some quality in Photomator's denoise. So I'm not as impressed with that. Yeah, especially that background. Like it's really got this kind of like artifacty look now, whereas on this guy, it just looks nice and smooth. So I think Adobe has the edge in denoising. I'm actually not even going to save that because that's not a very pretty update to it. So yeah, the denoising definitely give the edge to Lightroom. Let's do one more thing. Let's not edit that one. One more thing. Here's another photo. I'm doing mostly Lego photos today, I guess. Here's a photo I took of this Lego set that I also built. And if I go into my edits in Lightroom, if I pull up this photo, same photo, you can use presets. So presets are ways to kind of just give your photos a different look. I think Asteroid actually looks really good here, and you can adjust the intensity of it. So you can kind of make it look however you'd like. But yeah, that looks pretty rad. You cannot use Adobe Lightroom presets in Photomator, but you can use LUTs. So if you have LUTs, I think I made a video ages ago about how to create them in Pixelmator Pro. But if you have LUTs that you use for like video or something like that, you can actually import them into Photomator. So there's a LUT section down here, and there's some built-in ones as well, so you can like kind of hover over them to see what they would do. There's all these like photo filters, but Test LUT is one that I've created, and you can see it's not a huge change, but you can go ahead and apply it, and then there you go. You can adjust the intensity however much you like. This is a pretty subtle change, but if you have LUTs and you know what that means, you can import them into Photomator. So you just click this, and then you can choose LUT to save it, or you can export adjustments as a LUT. So if you would make all your adjustments to a photo and want to save it as a LUT, you can do that. I'm really going on saying LUT a lot, but basically you can do that as basically the equivalent to presets in Lightroom. So yeah, that's a quick look at some of the things that I like to use in Photomator. I'd say the things, I'm not going to say those changes right now, I'd say the things that really stand out to me are just, it really acts as a Photos replacement. So if you're looking for a more pro version of the Photos app, you could actually use this really to just completely replace what you do with Apple's Photos app. You can do that here. I think the super resolution feature is super awesome, and I use it a lot. I also think the healing brush tool is great, and we didn't really go into the just like normal editing tools. I think they're pretty good. I think Lightroom still just is, they've got it tuned in perfectly for like what I want from this sort of thing. I just kind of, my brain just resonates with how they do it. But the tools here are great, and they work, and it's very fast. It's a native app. So all this stuff kind of works really nicely. But yeah, I think that if you're worried about having enough control, you definitely have enough control. I think it's really these kind of advanced things like, would you rather have super resolution and a better healing brush? Then Photomator might be for you. If you want that crazy awesome denoising and maybe a little bit more power when it comes to editing, again, they're basically the same, but I think Lightroom's a little better for my taste. Then Lightroom might be better. So up to you. They're both subscriptions now. Photomator is at least less expensive, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.